welcome you all to this third video on Robert Lind's very beautiful essay on not being a philosopher. In this third video, we will study the fourth paragraph of the essay. In the earlier three paragraphs, we have found that Robert Lind first described his eagerness, his strong desire to have wisdom, and he wanted to get wisdom in a ready-made way. He wanted the philosophers to cultivate wisdom and to make it ready for him in the form of a book which he can purchase at the cost of some amount of money, in the same way as he purchases other everyday articles. And since childhood he has had the habit of reading books with the intention of getting some ready-made wisdom, and he has failed. Ultimately, he was convinced to study Epictetus, and he was hopeful that Epictetus would satisfy him with some ready-made wisdom. When he started studying Epictetus, he found that no, Epictetus does provide him wisdom, but those wisdom are applicable to our author only in theory. In practice, our author Robert Lind finds that he cannot follow Epictetus. Only in theory he agrees with him, but in practice it is difficult for him to imitate Epictetus. And he refers to certain very serious situations in life like earthquake or death, in which what Epictetus said, our author also agrees in theory, but in principle he cannot follow. Secondly, the author says about something very ordinary, some very everyday activity like eating food. When you take food and how to take food, in these situations also he finds that he can follow Epictetus only in theory, not in practice. Now, coming to the fourth paragraph, we will find the author is giving us certain other situations. It is about having material things. So far as possession of material things are concerned, how philosophers, especially Epictetus, behaves, and what is the common man's behavior. In the same way, what is the behavior of our author, and how our author and for that matter, common man differ from philosopher. So, in this essay, the author is telling us, giving examples after examples and telling us how it is not common man's job to act like a philosopher. It is not a common man's cup of tea to imitate a philosopher. Philosophers can do things, they can say and do the same thing, their speech and their practice are same, but so far as we are concerned, we can agree with the philosophers only in theory, but in practice we cannot act like them. So, to prove this point, to justify this stand of the author, he is giving some more examples, and the present example in the fourth paragraph that we will discuss now, we will find how we are different from philosophers so far as our attitude to possession of material things are concerned. Let us see the paragraph. Again, when Epictetus expresses his opinions on material possessions and counsels us to be so indifferent to them that we should not object to their being stolen, I agree with him in theory, and yet in practice I know I should be unable to obey him. There is nothing more certain than that a man whose happiness depends on his possessions is not happy. I am sure a wise man can be happy on a pittance, nor that happiness should be the aim of life, according to Epictetus, or in theory to myself. But Epictetus at least holds up an ideal of imperturbability, and he assures us that we shall achieve this if we care so little for material things that it does not matter to us whether somebody steals them or not. So here, so far as material possession is concerned, what is the stand of a philosopher, especially Epictetus, and what is the stand of a common man? That is what the author is speaking about, that is what he is analyzing. The author is saying, again, when Epictetus expresses his opinions on material possessions and counsels us, the word counsel is used here as a verb. Counsels means advises us. When Epictetus is speaking about possession of material things, and in this regard, he advises us, what does he advise? Epictetus advises us to be so indifferent to them. See, everybody wants material possession. You need to have huge buildings, you need to have more money, you need to have more land property, some more business, earning some more money. All these are material things, gold ornaments your wife needs. So, everybody wants material possessions. You cannot you cannot expect a human being to be indifferent to material things. But Epictetus tells us that so far as material possession is concerned, be so indifferent to them, so indifferent that even if they are stolen, you don't feel bad. Can you apply this to common human beings? You cannot. But Epictetus tells us this thing, that be so indifferent to material things that even if they are stolen, you don't feel bad. For example, you may be indifferent to certain things. For example, your shirt has become very old. For the last 4 years, you were wearing it, and if someone steals it, no issue, because you also were thinking of donating it to someone. So it is a very old one. It is not your choice now. So no need, no issue, even if it is stolen. But this does not apply to other things. For example, your mobile phone, if it is stolen, your watch is stolen, your newly purchased shirt is stolen, your wife's ornaments are stolen, you cannot be indifferent to it. But the author, but Epictetus tells us that be indifferent to material things. Be so indifferent to them that even if they are stolen, it doesn't bother you. And the author said, when Epictetus gives us this kind of advice, the author says, I agree with him in theory. In the same way, earlier also we found, in case of earthquake or death, in case of eating in a restaurant, whatever Epictetus says, the author said, I can agree on principle, I can agree in theory, but in practice I cannot. He is saying the same thing again. Robert Lind is saying, I agree with him in theory, and yet in practice I know I should be unable to obey him. There is nothing more certain than that a man whose happiness depends on his possessions is not happy. That is a universal fact. That is also a philosophic thought, that anyone will say money is not everything. Money you have today, tomorrow you will lose it, someone else will have it. Happiness is a different thing. The one who depends on material things to have his happiness, the one who thinks that his happiness depends on material things, is not in fact happy. To be happy, you need to have peace of mind, and that money or matter cannot provide. That is a fact. Okay, the author said, I agree that a person whose happiness depends on material possession is not in fact happy. That is what the author also agrees with Epictetus. At the same time, the author also said, I am sure a wise man can be happy on a pittance, P-I-T-T-A-N-C-E, pittance. Pittance means a small amount of money. Yes, a wise man, there are people who earn very less, but with this small amount of money, they can live happily. They don't complain. They don't mourn. They don't say, I don't have this. They just make themselves happy with it. The author says, yes, I agree. A wise man may be happy on a small amount of money, nor that happiness should be the aim of life, according to Epictetus, or in theory to myself. These are the points in which the author is agreeing with Epictetus. But Epictetus, at least, holds up an ideal of imperturbability, and he assures us that we shall achieve this if we care so little for material things that it does not matter to us whether somebody steals them or not. Our author says that yes, so far as material possessions are concerned, I agree with Epictetus in certain points. What are the points? When Epictetus or any philosopher says that if you depend on material possession to be happy, you cannot be happy. And I also agree with the fact that a wise man can live happily with a small amount of money. But here Epictetus is talking about some imperturbability. What is this imperturbability? See the word. Imperturbability. What is this? Imperturbability means? Imperturbability means indifference. It means you don't bother about these things. You ignore these things. If you ignore something, you don't bother about it, you don't pay attention to it, you don't take it seriously, it means you have an imperturbability towards it. You are imperturbable towards it. So, yes, depending on material possessions to be happy cannot make you happy. That is not a wise man's attitude. But Epictetus goes beyond that. He goes further and he says that you be indifferent to material things to such an extent that even if your possessions, your things, your property is stolen, you don't bother. You be indifferent to them to such an extent that no matter whether they are stolen or not, it doesn't matter to you. Our author said, this I cannot achieve. In this regard, I cannot go like Epictetus to that much extent that material possessions are of no feeling for me, I don't feel for them, I am not fond of them, I am not attracted to them, this much I cannot do. Epictetus, the next sentence is a quotation from Epictetus. These are Epictetus' own words. Epictetus is telling us, he says, stop admiring your clothes. He bids us, bid means he advises us, and you are not angry at the man who steals them. Epictetus consoles us, he says, how can you achieve this, that you be indifferent to material possession? He says, stop admiring your cloth. Don't say, yes, I have purchased this cloth at the cost of some 5,000 rupees, it is of this much brand and it is this much attractive, everyone appreciates it, everyone admires it. Don't do it. Stop admiring your cloth. And if you stop admiring your cloth, if you no more admire your cloth, then even if it is stolen, it is not your favorite, it is not your chosen one, so you don't bother about it. Stop admiring your clothes, and you are not angry at the man who steals them. And he goes on persuasively. Epictetus even further says, what does he say? He says, he does not know wherein the true good of man consists. Here Epictetus is talking about the thief. The thief who has stolen your thing, don't be angry with him. How can you stop yourself from being angry? When you find that your thing is stolen, you really become angry. Epictetus tells us you can control your anger. How to control your anger? Epictetus is telling us that the man who has stolen your cloth or your thing, any material, the thief, he does not know wherein the true good of man consists. He fancies that it consists in having fine clothes, the very same fancy that you also entertain. Shall he not come then, carry them off? Epictetus says the man who has stolen your possession, who has stolen your articles, he does not know the true spirit, the true good of man. What is actually goodness? He thought that taking your thing, taking your material, taking your property stealthily, secretly, he has done a good thing, he has possessed it. He does not know where actually happiness lies, what is actually goodness. He is actually not a wise man, and when he realizes this thing, he should come and return your thing to you. So just feel pity for the man. Epictetus says, don't feel bad, don't be angry with the thief, rather feel pity for him. Bechara, he doesn't know wherein the true spirit of good, true good of man consists. Yes, logically I suppose he should, and yet I cannot feel so at the moment at which I find that a guest at a party has taken my new hat and left his old one in its place. It gives me no comfort to say to myself, he does not know wherein the true good of life consists, but fancies that it consists in having my hat. Nor should I dream of attempting to console a guest at a party in my own house with such philosophy in similar circumstances. The author is elaborating on this. He is saying that no, I cannot agree with Epictetus in practice, because if in my house, for example, I find in a party my hat is stolen, someone has stolen my hat, I cannot console myself the way Epictetus advises us that yes, the man who has taken my hat purposefully, he has stolen it, he does not know wherein the true good of life consists. Or even at my own home, if a guest comes and his hat is stolen, I cannot tell him, console yourself by saying this thing. The man who has stolen it, the man who has purposefully taken it, he is not a wise man. He does not know wherein the true good of life consists. This kind of philosophy I cannot apply to myself or to my guest also, what Epictetus is saying. Then the author says, it is very irritating to lose anything at all. This is the fact of life. That is what our author is saying. Epictetus tells something highly philosophical. But we common people, yes, for me, for any other ordinary human being, it is very irritating to lose a new hat. It is very irritating to lose anything at all. If one thinks it has been done on purpose, I feel that I could imitate Epictetus if I lived in a world in which nothing happened. But in a world in which things disappear through loss, theft and pinching, and in which bad meals are served by bad waiters in not very good restaurants, and 1,000 other disagreeable things happen, an ordinary man might as well set out to climb the Himalayas in walking shoes as attempt to live the life of a philosopher at all hours. Our author is saying that what Epictetus is saying, these are very sound things, very nice things. Be indifferent to your material possessions, stop admiring your clothes, And then if they are stolen, if they are lost, you will not feel bad. Don't be angry with the thief, just feel pity for him. Our author says, I can agree with him if I live in a world where nothing happened. Nothing happens in this world, it's okay. But we live in a world in which things happen. What kind of things happen? Our things are stolen, our property is stolen, and they have to steal it on purpose. And if I try to imitate Epictetus in this world where in front of my own eyes I see my own possessions are stolen purposefully by people, imitating Epictetus is like trying to scale Mount Everest, trying to climb the Himalayas. If you want to climb the Himalayas, you need to have some apparatus, some tools, some necessary things, because it is not an ordinary trip. Just you have your walking shoe, the shoe that you usually wear. With this kind of shoe, you cannot think of climbing the Himalayas. Our author said that imitating someone like Epictetus with regard to loss of things is like climbing Himalayas on your walking shoe. Climbing Himalayas on your walking shoe is something beyond imagination, something impossible. In the same way, for an ordinary man, following Epictetus with regard to loss of things, consoling yourself that the thief is not a wise man, he does not know wherein the true spirit of goodness lie, and that you shouldn't bother about the things that are stolen. That I cannot do. No ordinary human being can do it. So we have found that in every paragraph, our author is citing examples from different perspectives, from different aspects of life, and telling us that whether it is in our everyday activity like taking food, or in certain situations where things are stolen, or in very serious situations, very dangerous situations like earthquake or death, philosophers' philosophies are very attractive. We love them, we admire them, we agree with them only in theory. So far as practice is concerned, we cannot imitate them. That is the reality. That is where we are different from them. With this, we will end this video, and in the next video, that will be the last video, we will see our author's more justification. He will speak us some more things on the same issue. That will be also even more attractive. Waiting to meet you soon in the next video, where we will conclude this essay. Thank you very much for being with me.